All right, we're here at the beautiful TPI. I'm here with Aaron Luttrell. We're here with Titleist brand new Vokey SM10 wedges. And while we say brand new SM10s, people go, SM10's been out. I've got SM10s, whatever. We've got some kind of exciting things coming in the SM10 lineup. So why don't you share first what is going to be new for this year with the SM10s?
So we're introducing a grind that's actually been around in our WedgeWorks line. It's a lower bounce K grind. So people should be fairly familiar. We've had a K grind in our stock lineup for quite a while, our main SM10 lineup. That one has 14 degrees of bounce. Really good for the steeper player or the player that's needing some help, keeping the club from sticking in the ground or getting out of the bunker. Nice wide sole, glides through the sand really easily, gets the ball out of the bunker pretty easy.
Yep.
That's available in a 58 and a 60. Well, this K grind, this lower bounce K grind, is played a bit more on tour and is great for those players that play off tighter lies, but still want some help out of the bunker. That wide sole's kind of a cheat code for getting it to glide through there and get that ball out.
Yep. Now, with them, you talk about one being high bounce, low bounce. When you kind of look at, kind of that compared to, we have other low bounce wedges in the lineup as well. So when you kind of look at low bounce K, we have a T grind here, but when you compare a low bounce K to a low bounce T, what is kind of the differences? I think people may look at it and say, well, one's a 4, one's a 6, not that big of a difference, but they definitely are two different wedges when you look at kind of the sole width and the shaping and all that. So how different, do they kind of play, and what do they do kind of well? What does each one do well?
Yeah, so the reason why we wanted to bring this 06K into the line is we have had low bounce wedges in our line for quite a while. T grind being the most recent low bounce wedge we have, but a lot of them are very narrow as well. So low bounce, narrow sole with a lot of relief around the edges. Really versatile as far as like if you wanted to open the face and have that leading edge stay super, super low.
Yep.
It's great. With the 06K though, in the square position, that leading edge still sits very low, but it has a much wider sole to it. So it's a little more forgiving. Like if you had the tendency to every once in a while get a little bit steep, even if you are a shallow player or playing steeper conditions, that wider sole is going to keep it from wanting to stick in the turf a little bit too much. You can open it. Leading edge may come up a little bit, but not as much as it would with something with more bounce. So for having such a wide sole, it is a very versatile wedge. They're just going to feel very different going through because one's very narrow, so there won't be as much resistance to digging, and one's a little bit wider. But getting both of them, the leading edge underneath the golf ball on a tighter lie, both of them are going to be very good.
Yeah. And then when you look at, with the K grind, I think a lot of people will look at that wide sole and say, ooh, that's going to be tough. But some of the best players in the world, and we mentioned Justin Thomas uses this from time to time, depending on the conditions. So even if you think that, the wider sole is going to stop you from being creative and hitting the shots, it's still going to allow you to do that.
Yeah, over the last few years, this 06K has won several majors. So it's nothing to be afraid of. Good players can play it. The players that maybe have a shallower delivery and need some confidence out of the bunker, they may play it too. So if the best players in the world say, hey, I want the cheat code out of the bunker, hey, it's there for them.
Yeah.
If you want something a little different, and we have another low bounce option in the 04T, but really now instead of having that one option when you walk into the store, if you're a player that needs a little bit less bounce than the lob wedge, now you have two really good options, and they're both fairly different from each other.
Yeah. So when we look at kind of like, we'll take these three wedges, the low bounce K, the standard K, and the T. We can't stress enough, you should get fit for your wedges. It is so important. It's amazing what you think you might be into, and then when you actually go try some, what you'll actually be fit into, it can be totally different. I found that out firsthand. But for the player, let's start with the standard high bounce K, the regular K, the 14. What kind of player is that for? What kind of conditions type of player is that built for? And then we'll move to the K and the T.
Well, from a delivery standpoint, I would say probably a steeper player, or a player that struggles with that leading edge wanting to get stuck in the ground. Also, you know, if that player played in softer conditions, that would also be a very good wedge for that player. Also, someone who struggles to get out of the bunker, the 14K is a great option.
One of the best.
Now, when you look at the lower bounce K, the 06K, that's for a player that maybe has a shallower delivery, or they play somewhere that's a little firmer, a little bit tighter. That player maybe doesn't want such a narrow sole. They maybe want that wider sole to introduce some forgiveness, or just like the comfort of feeling a little bit more of the sole as it's going through the turf.
Yep.
That's going to fit that player well. It's also great for a shallow player or a player that plays in tight conditions out of a bunker. Maybe you've seen some success with it, and I know we won a major at Augusta with it a couple times. I know it's won over for the Open Championship a couple times. So when you're looking at, oh, will it work off tight conditions? Yes. Will it work out of a bunker and you need to get it over a lip? Sure will. Now, T-grind's incredible for tight conditions as well. Because that player that wants to still be able to open that face up and really have it sit low off of a tight, firm lie, T-grind's the right, you know, tool for you. It's going to be easy for that player to get that leading edge underneath. Now, it's not going to be quite as forgiving as that low bounce K out of a bunker or in softer conditions, or if you tend to get steep.
Yep. So yeah, that is exciting. It's exciting that the new low bounce K now becomes accessible to everyone.
Yes.
Before it was kind of a limited part, maybe Wedge Works or on tour, and now all of us get to experience it, which is pretty awesome. So that is a new Vokey 60 or 06K or low bounce K grind. And thank you for dishing us all the details on the new wedge.
Absolutely.